Hello, my name is Maria Groumpou. I'm from the University of Patras, and I'm going to present our work about the mythical lake of Pheneos. The lake that we study is located in Greece and more specifically in North Peloponnese. It's in the mountainous area between the mountain ranges of Chelmos, Syria, and Saitas, and it is hosted by the homonymous falls. We know from the historical records that in this area a lake formed and got drained several times over the past millennia. The first record we have is from Eratosthenes' geography in the 3rd century BC, and the last great draining event of the lake was in 1899. This phenomenon of flooding and draining of the lake is related with the sinkholes that exist in the area in the south part, that when they block, they accumulate the water and they create the lake, and when they unblock, they drain the area and empty the pools. People that lived in ancient times created several myths to explain this phenomenon and the holes on the ground. However, we know that in reality they are part of a complicated karstic system that exists in North Peloponnese. Today, there's no water remaining in the area, and one can see these scarps on the landscape. The main aim of our work was to investigate these linear features on the landscape and try to interpret the paleoenvironmental conditions that prevailed in the lake. The material and the methods that we used was at first geomorphological analysis with remote sensing and in 2 different datasets, and then we collected surface sediment samples for microbiological, lithological, and chronological analysis. More specifically, at first we used a dataset of 50 centimeter spatial resolution orthophoto and a 5-meter resolution digital surface model. This dataset covers the entire area of Pheneos, and we used it to locate areas where these linear features are more evident. And then we visited the field to create a second dataset, which consists of an orthophoto and a digital surface model of 4 pixel size resolution. And we navigated an unmanned aerial vehicle to create this dataset. We also collected surface sediment samples from the margins and from inside the pores. In total, 68 samples. We processed about 1 kilo of sediment. Here you can see the areas where we collected the samples. Here are the margin samples and also the 5 regions where we navigated the UAV. And here are the areas where we collected the section samples along a natural stream. Finally, we dated the opercle of Bithynia with the dating method of amino acid trichemization to put our material in a chronological framework. From the results of the first dataset, we show that the linear features are on the south part of the poles. In total, we have 324 linear features. We also observed a line at about 750 meters above which intense vegetation starts to grow. And yes, here you can see for example, for region 3, the orthophoto from the first dataset where we have mapped these features as line. On the middle, the orthophoto of the second dataset. By no doubt, we have a much better analysis, and we can see that these linear features are probably an alteration in lithology. And we were able in this analysis to map them as polygons. Indeed, when we visited the field, we saw that this alteration in lithology was 2 different lithological outcrops, one very coarse gravels material and one fine material rich in gravels. This fine material rich in gravels is the material that we processed for the microbiological analysis. where we illustrated up to 5 harophyte taxa, which is the main tool for the verification of our material as lacustrine paleoshoreline material. And also, we identified up to 10 ostracods taxa that gave also important information about the ecological condition of the lake. When combining the results of the different methods, we can say that the material that we processed was deposited in a lacustrine paleoshoreline environment, as for example, you can see in this image. In Pheneos, we have at least 4 different paleoshorelines that prevailed. And however, their precise borders cannot be mapped with certainty as they overlap each other. And also the highest flooding level that this lake seems to have reached is at about 750 meters, as we have this line above which vegetation starts to grow. And imagine a lake of 50 meters as the bottom of the poles is at about 700 meters. From the identified taxa, we can say that the 2 lowest in altitude paleoshorelines show a cold, oligotrophic and permanent lake, as we have the index taxa of Nitolopis obtusa, Cantona, Neglecta, and Iliogibris inermis. The 2 highest in altitude paleoshorelines show a warmer and mesotrophic condition of the lake, as we have absence of this taxa. And we also have a third condition of the lake, as we have in the lowest altitude Spherohara prolifera that indicate an ephemeral and annual character of the lake. When putting in a chronological order our material, we can say that it has a likely mid to late Holocene age when compared with the Ioannina material that is another place in Greece. And also we can put the deposition order of the paleoshorelines from oldest being the paleoshoreline 2, following paleoshoreline 4, and then paleoshoreline 2 and paleoshoreline 1, the youngest. Here you can see one of the sections we have. Again, on the bottom, we have the cold, permanent and oligotrophic condition of the lake, and on the higher parts, the mesotrophic and warmer condition of the lake. Finally, to conclude, with this work, we proved that these scarps on the landscape of Pheneos are indeed lacustrine paleoshorelines of this mythical lake. We mapped at least 4 paleoshorelines in the margins of the poles. By no doubt, the second dataset has a much better analysis and is more reliable for mapping these features. The combination of harophytes and ostracods is stronger than studying each group separately. The microbiological results show that significant changes regarding the trophic status and the temperature of Pheneos Lake took place during this period. However, the phenomenon of the repeated flooding and draining of the poles makes the interpretation of the results difficult. So we strongly recommend deep boreholes inside the poles to have a better view of this lake. Finally, I would like to thank Dr. Wheeler and Professor Beckman for running the dating analysis, and of course all of you for listening.